Welcome to Get to Know, the podcast that brings you creative careers unfiltered. I'm Morgan Williams, producer, art director, and your host. And I started this podcast because I was meeting brilliant people in the industry but had no idea what their job titles really meant. Each episode, I sit down with photographers, designers, creative directors, content creators, and more to unpack what their jobs really involve, the glam bits, the graft, and the everything in between. This is season 2 with brand new guests, panel episodes, and more honest conversations. I'm so pleased to be able to say that this season is sponsored by Capture One, the industry standard software for photographers. And if you're new here, season 1 is waiting for you. My guest today has turned a love for music and tech into a career that's taken him around the world on tour with some of the biggest names in the business. Starting out recording brass bands in North Wales, he worked his way through local gigs, studied sound engineering, and built a career purely through saying yes to opportunities. From live shows with Zara Larsson to 3 years on the road with Dua Lipa, he's now the live audio engineer for Olivia Dean. With his own business in touring and broadcast, and a home base still proudly rooted in Wales, we're diving into what life on the road really looks like, how he juggles touring with TV work, and the realities behind his dream job. Let's get to know Callum Lloyd-Williams. Before we dive in, a quick favour. If you're enjoying the pod, please hit subscribe. It's completely free, helps more people like you discover the show, and means I can keep bringing you honest, inspiring chats with some of the most exciting creatives out there. Thanks so much. Now, let's get into it. So, Callum, you are a live audio engineer.
I am, yeah.
Can you, for anyone who has no idea what that is, just really top line explain what that title means?
Absolutely. So I work in live music specifically, and that means my role now, I work for the artist directly. I'm in charge of how they sound to the audience, basically. That's my current role. If I wasn't there, the sound wouldn't come out the speakers, basically.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's take it back then and discuss how you actually got into live music, because I feel like that's a slightly different thing for people that love music than being a singer or in a band or anything like that.
Absolutely.
So take me back to when you were younger. What kind of started your passion for music?
I can't remember a time in my life where music wasn't in it, but it all kind of stemmed from when I was younger. I was obviously a musician first. Started playing brass, as it's quite a traditional thing in Wales to learn a brass instrument in school, and that then transitioned into me being more interested in playing slightly louder instruments. So then I chose to play the drums, which I'm sure my parents
loved.
Yeah.
I really wanted
and my neighbours, obviously.
I really wanted to do the drums, but my parents were like, no, you can have a guitar.
Yeah. I'm sure they regret saying yes to it now.
Probably.
Well, I don't play drums in the house anymore. So yeah, started getting very interested in the drums. And then was just, got a drum kit, started playing all the time. That then transitioned to me playing drums in the brass band that was in the town brass band, traditional brass band. But then obviously, as you get into your teenage years, brass band music isn't exactly very interesting anymore. So then that turned into starting little bands with friends and playing in local bands, doing local gigs, things like that. Never really taking it further than, much of a hobby really. And I don't really play drums anymore and things like that. So it was never a long-term kind of, I want to be a musician when I'm older type thing.
Okay.
And then, in my kind of late teenage years, got very interested in the kind of audio side of things, like the techie side of things.
And what kind of sparked that? Like, how did you even get an introduction to it?
I think it was just me going, I loved going to gigs when I was younger, and I don't know, I would just start to notice these people kind of on the stage before the band were on, and in the little sound booth out front, and I would just look over and be like, oh, what are they doing? That looks interesting.
Right.
Kind of, I must have just had an awareness that obviously existed in studio recording and live anyway.
Yeah, of course.
But then was very much I want to do this. This is a bit of me. I want to do this. And then, my whole interest kind of shifted into recording music to start with. So recording all my friends' bands, then going into college to do it music technology, and that kind of, it was all just shifted then to me wanting to just do audio techie stuff kind of full time rather than playing. So
yeah, sure. So was it kind of at that point when you were studying in uni, even before, when you kind of realised that this could be a job, where you were like, this is the job that I want?
I would say I was like 16 when that happened.
Right,
like that
okay,
moment
wow.
of going, I want to be a sound engineer,
Yeah.
audio engineer, kind of as a job.
Yeah.
And then just like dedicated my whole time to like learning as much as I could, working, normal teenage jobs like in kitchens at Tesco or whatever, to try and fund that side of things, not really knowing what I needed to do kind of to get to that career. But like I remember saving up, like it took me like almost a year working in a kitchen as a pot wash to just like buy my first mixing desk.
Yeah, I was
like
going to say
£1,000 or whatever.
That equipment that you need is a bit pricey.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was very fortunate to have like borrow things and be given things, and there was like a local studio which was in the place that I used to do the brass band. That's where I kind of started to learn.
Brilliant.
And then a close family friend of mine was like producing traditional brass music and choirs and things. So he would then take me under his wing to like come help record it and stuff. And I learned a lot doing that. And then that was like from the age of like maybe like 17 to my early 20s, like I've probably recorded like over 10 albums. Oh. Like, as in like, not major releases or anything like that, but as in like physical, for sale albums.
No, but it's a lot to do in that period of time.
I always look back at that and I go like, because I don't even, because it's not on Spotify or anything like that now. Like I always go back, like I would love to listen to like everything I did from back then, but like I don't really have access to it anymore.
Oh, that's such a shame.
Just like I look back on that and I go, wow, I've kind of done all that at such a young age. It was just like a previous part of my life that I don't really do anymore, but
yeah.
It was cool to do it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And growing up in North Wales as well, was there a lot of opportunity for this kind of work?
No, is the kind of short answer to that. There's a music scene for sure, and that has a like a major part in my life. Like where I am now is because of that. But there isn't venues, there isn't touring bands coming through, there isn't that kind of traditional setup that you have in a city. Mm-hmm. So I kind of had to find places where I could at least do that. So like local events, like food festivals, things like that. Started working for a kind of local audio supplier and things like that to help, get my name out there and work with local bands and the Welsh scene. The Welsh scene is big, and I still work in it now. But in terms of like, there isn't a music venue I could go to every week to learn my craft, kind of thing. So yeah.
Okay. So you went to college to study. What was the course?
So that was a music technology course.
Music technology, and then you eventually went on to uni as well to study, didn't you? Talk me through that. Kind of, what did you learn through those courses? How did they kind of go for you?
So I went to, it's called Spirit Studios now, but it used to be called School of Sound Recording, SSR. Uni was just pushed on my kind of generation, I guess.
Agreed, yeah. Because I think we're maybe the same age?
Yeah, I'm 30.
Yeah, so, 32, yeah. We're a similar age. I definitely think it was one of those things that just everyone our age did, wasn't it?
Yeah, and it was, especially in school, it was just like, if you don't do this, you won't get into this. Yeah. And it's like that kind of...
It's like reinforced, isn't
like
it?
It's that message is like all the time,
because
go to uni, so yeah.
You wouldn't get any like alternate option either.
Yeah,
like,
or you wouldn't be successful in life kind of message.
Yes, Which is a shame, because there were so many other ways that you can go about it.
Absolutely.
So you went to uni.
I ended up finding a course that was like kind of perfect for me. It was a studio and live music production degree. This is more of an institute than a traditional university as well. So loads of studios, a music venue.
Sounds great.
Yeah, like it's a great place to go do that if you're an academic person, but I'm not an academic person, so I don't really know why I ended up doing a uni course. And I didn't maybe enjoy it as much as I thought, because of obviously the academic side is so, such a big part of it.
So when you say it was quite academic, was there like a lot of reading involved and essay writing and that sort of thing?
Which is not something I'm very good at.
And I'm surprised for like a music degree.
Yeah,
that there
yeah.
are...
I mean, don't get me wrong, there was a lot of practical stuff as well, but
Of
obviously
course.
they have to make it a degree. So
Mm.
it's like you can't just do all
It's
this
fitting
fun
that
practical
mold, isn't
stuff.
it? Yeah.
It has to be backed up with report writing and things like that. So
Yeah.
so yeah, it wasn't quite my cup of tea kind of thing. It was in Manchester and I was there for 2 years. My final year, I just decided to stay home because by that point, I had quite a lot of work and some connections that I wanted to keep. And I didn't really see the need to be in Manchester because I wasn't really making the most of being in Manchester anyway. So
Okay.
I thought if I go back to North Wales, I can just like keep going in this scene and like kind of get to the top of that scene. So that's what ended up happening basically.
You said you'd like built up some work during that time.
Mhm.
How did you do that?
It was like just slowly ticking away, mainly working for a local sound hire company, and then just doing all sorts of events like gigs in castles.
Okay. Oh, cool.
Like, you know, you use your local town kind of fair stuff or,
Yeah.
you know, food festivals, things like that. So and then that became regular work. It was like work every weekend, basically, if I wanted it towards the end of my degree and then after my degree as well. So I just kind of, did 2 years of that, just working locally, doing events and things for different local companies and freelance. Obviously, the degree just took a kind of back seat for a bit, and it wasn't important to me anymore. Obviously, I still thought I'd best complete this, otherwise.
So you didn't drop out?
No,
you just...
and I did seriously think about it, but I was like, I've gone too far, and I might as well complete this. And one day I'll look back on it and be like, oh, it was worth doing, but I didn't go to my graduation. I didn't like.
Oh wow!
It wasn't something that was a priority to me anymore. So like I think I literally had a gig booked like when my graduation was. So I was just like, I think I'll just earn some money instead.
Yeah, I mean, I think probably a lot of people would take the money over the graduation.
Yeah, so I was just like, I mean, I look back on it now and it'd be like, oh, maybe it would have been nice to get like a degree photo or whatever with my parents. But my parents were so supportive and on board with like whatever I wanted to do was fine. So
no, that's great. It's good to have that support network as well.
Absolutely, yeah.
That work that you were doing as well, like you mentioned castles and food fairs and all that kind of stuff. How did that actually work when you were booked? Were you one of a team or were you the only one rocking up doing that gig?
Like a mixture of both, really. Like, you know, you'd have small things, but then there'd be bigger, larger events that there's a big team to work with. So that was a really fun part of my career, and I got to work with these people kind of for years straight as well. So you got to that kind of local network that I built like became quite large, and you know, I'm still friends with most of those people today. So
no, which is really good. I think a lot of the conversations that I have for this podcast revolve around how networking is like such a crucial part.
Oh, especially in the industry that I now work in, like it's networking first. Like it's connections with people first, rather than, you know, how good you are at your job most of the time.
Sure.
Yeah.
You graduated but didn't go to the graduation and you were already like getting this work in. How did that kind of snowball? Because I think from there you are now touring with global stars. So what was like your first dip into that that kind of work?
So there was a kind of audio hire company that were based around where I lived.
Yeah.
They only worked in touring really, or touring shows or bigger productions. So that was kind of my first experience of touring shows. But it still meant, you know, I wasn't one of the core members of crew. I wasn't working for the artist. I was working for the supplier. So, but that still gave me the experience of like a different venue every day, like a different city every day, moving around the country and stuff like that. And then, so little things like that. And then I had friends that already worked in touring that was very much like, if you ever need like cover for anything, like let me know, things like that. So we use a term called depping. So I was depping for a few friends that were already in the touring thing. There were lots of like Britain's Got Talent type people.
Nice.
So it was more like kind of variety acts than pop or music acts that I work for now. So but it still gave me the experience of like fly out to this place and you know, do the one show and then go somewhere else. So that was kind of my first experience of touring. And then I was still working for all of the local stuff and doing little bits of TV work as well on the side. I had this point where it was just like I've got 50-50 kind of local event stuff, and then 50% kind of like touring, working for the artist stuff. And then from maybe end of 2017, early 2018 was just like, that's when I just transitioned to like full-time touring, working for the artist directly or working for the record label or management directly. And then it's just snowballed, and then so from 2018 onwards I've been doing full-time touring basically. So,
And your first kind of tour on a tour bus with a bigger tour, artist was actually looking after their drums, right? Yeah,
so all of the Welsh music scene kind of thing know me as like an audio guy, always like mixing the band, like normally doing the front of house, which is the sound for the audience. And then I was just very keen to like do touring full time. And obviously I had been a drummer in a previous life and knew a lot about drums.
Right. Okay.
So I had some opportunities to work as a drum tech for a couple Liverpool-based bands, which is Cast and the Lighten Seeds. So I spent like a couple summers with them just doing the drums, because I was just like, this opportunity's come to do some touring full time. It's maybe not the role I wanted to do, but at least I'll get some connections, like I'll get some experience that's worth having. And looking after a drum kit is still, it's quite a hard job anyway, and it's good experience to have. And it just, after having that experience, obviously my name got out there as Callum's a really good drum tech. So then I ended up working for Zara Larsson for most of 2019. So I was just like, again, that was like an amazing opportunity that I wasn't really going to say no to.
Yeah.
Just in terms of like how much work it was and the experience. And then after I got that gig, it was just like, oh, she's supporting Ed Sheeran for like most of 2019 as well. So I was just like, well, I'm definitely not going to say no to this one. So that was a great experience. And just being part of like one of the world's biggest tours at the time, or still to date, like was crazy, even though just a support artist, but it was just a crazy experience. And
but still, it's I mean, Zara's a massive artist in her own right now, isn't she? So you were on that journey with her, like more at the start of her career. So what was it actually like, or what is it like being on a tour bus?
It's great. It's a great way to get to know your colleagues, for sure, because
I bet very close proximity.
You're not only just working with each other, you're living with each other. And some tour buses go up to 18 people on one bus.
Right.
So like you can only imagine like how small that bus feels, and like living with 18 people anywhere would be hard, let alone a moving vehicle. So it's fine. Like I've got very used to being on them now. It is a weird concept, like I'm going to bed now, but I'm going 80 miles an hour or whatever,
I bet
it should be slower if it's a bus, but it is a crazy thing to get used to, but you slowly do. And unfortunately I've been involved with like a couple bus crashes as well. Like,
oh no,
that's like a really scary experience to be, to happen to you. Like I was literally asleep one night, and you just wake up to the feeling of the bus kind of like rocking and the brakes screeching, and like we were in the middle of Sweden somewhere, and it was snowy and icy or whatever it was, and it was actually like another driver coming up the wrong side of the road or whatever. So
it
was just
it's really scary.
Yeah, it was really scary, but kind of forgotten about it now. I had to, because then trying to sleep on a tour bus after that,
I mean, you've got to block that out of your brain, don't you?
Straight away. And I literally have blocked it out of my brain, like, because it's like, how am I going to sleep after something like that? And obviously no one was really hurt. So it could, I've heard lots of stories, friends that have been in terrible crashes and things like that. It's just, you hear about, vehicle crashes happen all the time, but when you hear about a tour bus kind of crashing, it's super scary. So
definitely.
But I don't want to put the message out there that it happens all the time, because it doesn't.
Of course. But I mean, there are car crashes all the time. It's
absolutely.
one of those things.
But just having experienced one myself was just like, and that was like maybe like the second or third tour bus I'd ever been on. So
wow.
Yeah, I was just like, wow, this is real and scary.
Yeah.
And like how you all come together after something like that as well, because we had a show the next day, like we hadn't all slept, we had to load in at like 8 a.m. Having to work the next day, like after that was like kind of crazy.
Is the artist on the bus with you as well, or do they have like a separate?
It depends on the size of the tour, but like on the current tour I'm on, like the artist is usually on the bus, but it changes from tour to tour. And,
yeah.
They usually have like a nicer bedroom at the back or something like that. Or if on a big arena tour like that, you know, it's 10, 12 buses, you know, it's a big.
Well, that was my next question.
Yeah.
Like, how big are the crews generally? Like, if we talk about Zara's tour, how big was the crew for that tour by itself? How many people?
Yeah, like personnel wise for a stadium show like that, it's hundreds of people. It's like,
wow,
you know, 200 plus with all the teams involved. You know, the headliner and then the support artists, and then and then addition to that, that's like maybe 200 like touring personnel, and there's hundreds every day that come in just to help put it together, you know. So
yeah, sure,
it's a lot of people. And obviously like big tours like that, I got to know quite a lot of people, so that was like a major connection making opportunity for me.
Yeah.
And a lot of my work now comes from that one tour that I did, really. So,
oh, amazing.
Yeah, it's great.
So there's so many people on that tour, and say you do a show for one evening, looking after the drums whilst the drums are in use. What are you doing?
I mean, hoping nothing falls over basically is like the main
Fair.
the main thing.
So you on the side behind the curtain, kind of watching, making
like
sure everything's
tune
okay.
them up every day.
Yeah.
Set them up how the drummer likes them.
Yeah.
Just maintenance and things like that. The stuff with Zara kind of finished in the end of the summer of 2019. I was like, what's next? And had a couple of months maybe of helping cover some work for some other friends and doing some more stuff in the Welsh scene and doing more audio bits and things like that. And then I did a new artist called JC Stewart, who I was just looking. This is again from a connection that I made on this Ed Sheeran tour. It was someone asked me to come look after the playback system for this new artist, and I did like a week of work with them. And then the musical director that was working on that artist as well happened to be Dua Lipa's musical director, and he was just like, we need someone for this week of rehearsals. Can you come help us out? And I was like, yeah, absolutely, I'd love to work for
Definitely.
love to work for Dua Lipa. And then, yeah, like 4 years of my life happened after that kind of week. It was
incredible.
Crazy.
And I guess that was right before COVID, which posed a whole new realm of problems.
Absolutely.
Let us come on to that in a sec. But firstly, for anyone that doesn't know, what is a playback?
So a playback engineer is still like an audio realm, but you're working and looking after all the computers that kind of run the show music wise.
Okay.
Backing tracks, keyboard sounds, drum sounds, a thing called time code, which is like what keeps all the lighting and the video in time. So it's all coming out of your world, which is all run off computers, and keeping maybe several computers all working together and running in time with each other.
Yeah.
So it's quite a complex job, and
it
was something I had some experience in, and the softwares that I used, like I'd used for years and things like that. But this was my first like big role on a big major tour. So yeah, it was again another opportunity that I couldn't really say no to. And
definitely.
Yeah, so it's looking after the computers that run the show, basically. Yeah.
And do you generally have just like one playback for a tour, or is it a team of playback engineers?
Playback tends to be a one-person role.
Okay.
It can be multiple people, maybe on other tours, depending on how complex the rig is and the setup. For me, it was just me on the Dua Lipa tour. Yeah.
So how did you feel on that Dua Lipa tour when it was like your first sort of big job and it was just you doing that as well?
Yes, lots of pressure, but it was like the way it all panned out and the way that it all kind of worked out touring wise was like it was such a slow progression into the bigger shows.
Okay.
Because when I first got the gig, it was come do all this promotion for the new song type of work. So it was like 3-minute performances around the world.
Okay.
No like hour plus shows to like make sure it didn't go wrong.
Yeah.
So it was like a nice slow progression. And then we started the tour rehearsals, things like that. And then COVID came along.
Fantastic COVID.
So yeah, that kind of meant we literally like, we got ready to do this big worldwide arena tour, and then kind of just everything stopped. We were in rehearsals, like very much ready to go into production rehearsals, which is like a big step to do for the tour, like spend a lot of money basically. We got right up to that point, and then I remember the tour director kind of sitting us all down and being like, right, this is what a pandemic is, and this is like kind of how serious it could get and might get. At this point, the tour hadn't officially been cancelled, but this is like March of 2020.
So was this like right before lockdown then?
Yeah,
that was like end of March sort of time, wasn't
we were
it?
in rehearsal, like we cut rehearsal short and got sent home basically, packed all the gear away, closed the doors, went, well, I don't know when I'll see that again.
Right. That's got to be a worrying moment for you. I mean, obviously COVID was worrying for everyone, but for you in that moment.
Yeah, me and the whole industry kind of like, it was mainly just like, right, all my work has gone away, but also I can't get any other work because my whole industry is shut down.
Yeah.
So it was a super scary moment for the whole industry and many creative jobs or anyone that worked freelance. But, you know, a couple months went by and we all found out that we were like, luckily, like I was self-employed as in a sole trader at the time. And that kind of, that meant that I was going to be able to have the support that I needed from the government to make sure money kept coming in. But obviously was just sat at home, not working, and had so much free time. It was crazy. But then maybe 6-7 months into the kind of lockdown, Dua's team were like, okay, we still have to like promote an album as much as we can here, because the album had come out at that point. I think it came out April of 2020.
Oh, so it came out only really with the promotion you'd done beforehand?
I think we did like almost a couple months of like the one song, Don't Start Now, and that was it. And then we were like, right, like next single, and then it was like, it couldn't really happen. And then we obviously rehearsed the whole album and what the whole arena show was going to be. And then, like 6-7 months after that point of like of us all going home, was just like, right, this is our plan to promote the album.
Yeah.
And this is what we're going to do with as much as we could do with all the restrictions and everything like that. So that ended up with me coming back down to London for a couple months, working on, the TV style performances that were happening. We did all the kind of Grammy stuff and all that, the Brit Award type stuff, the at-home versions, obviously, pre-recorded and things like that. And then we did a big live show with Dua, which ended up being like a record-breaking thing, which was a lot of work for us to do. It had to be all kind of pre-thought out and timed and lots of rehearsal, but it was a great feeling to like have everyone back together and all be working again, like on the closest thing we could get to a big arena show.
And basically. I guess it came with its own like new challenges as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, even just the constant COVID testing, the masks, like that was enough. Like the job is hard enough without having to wear a mask the whole time, and all the losing people because they've got COVID. Because
you had to go and isolate for
and things like that.
10 days or something.
Yeah, so it was just a massive headache, for an additional headache to something that's quite complicated and hard to do anyway. But it was great. It was like I still watch it back now and go, wow, that was like an amazing like piece of art that we created. And it was, I don't know how many millions of views it had, but I know it was record breaking, and it was we were all so proud of it after it kind of came out.
Once kind of COVID calmed down, were you still working with Dua at that point?
Like,
so you ended up being able to go on tour with her?
we just did so many, like the new tour would, or the new version of the tour dates would get announced, and then we'd be like, right, we work towards that. We do rehearsals here, we do production rehearsals then. But then that didn't happen that time or something. The tour had to get pushed again because obviously we were like chasing everyone's COVID rules, or like whether you could do shows. So like some countries were open, some weren't. So like all the territories would like swap round, and it was just a massive headache for everyone. So we eventually got to the point, I think it was end of 2021. We were like, okay, these are the actual rehearsals. We're actually going to go on tour. Yeah. Start of 2022. We'd done some music rehearsals in London, and then I remember we had the tour started in the US. So we did production rehearsals in New Jersey. So I remember getting on that flight and just being like, wow, I haven't been on a plane for like 3 years or something.
Yeah.
Or, 2.5 years or something. And just that was weird. Then flew out there, obviously COVID restrictions still, like masks and stuff, and having to, this stuff you had to get into the US at the time. But then we did like a few weeks of production rehearsals in New Jersey in January, I think it was. So it was freezing over there. So the masks were like, again, like just all these additional like things that made it so much harder.
Yeah.
But then we were like, wow, we're going to do an arena show now. Like after years and like a couple of years of like almost doing it or rehearsing it several times. Mm-hmm. So yeah, once it actually got out on the road, that was like a big thing. Like everyone was like kind of emotional because we were like, wow. And a lot of, I think a couple of the states, and like when we went to Canada, we were like only the like second or third show to happen in that arena for years. Mm-hmm. Like, so that was a super special thing to
what was the crowds like?
Oh, it was like I think that helped with the energy of like the whole gig, because it was like an experience that people hadn't had.
Yeah.
Or they'd bought these tickets 2 years ago and have been waiting 2 years to like come to see the show. So
it blows my mind that shows were actually cancelled for that long. It's crazy.
So yeah, once that got out, we were on tour then for a good, I don't know, like 14 months straight then.
Oh wow.
Like that was an intense year, because obviously what they had planned to do was maybe spread out over a bit of a longer period, but like it was because of the backlog of all the tours that needed to happen or been postponed, like just meant we were on tour for like pretty much a year straight. And I think that year I had like 4 weeks at home maybe.
Do you get holidays or like even weekends and stuff like that?
You have days off on tour, but yeah, like the off periods in that year were like pretty much like days at a time. But everyone was kind of making up for, like we didn't have good income for like 2 years. So we were very much like, and we had a lot of spare time. So we were very much just on board to just like go on tour for like a year straight, because, it had to be done basically. So yeah. It was tough at the same time. But,
I was going to say, being on a tour bus basically for a whole year must have been incredibly
it was
tough.
I mean, in the US, we were on the tour bus for almost 2 months straight. And then obviously you only go on tour buses in the US and Europe. So all the other territories were like flying around and stuff. So that kind of broke it up a bit. But obviously COVID restrictions were still like coming and going. And like, it was but by the end of the tour, like COVID had gone away. So that was it was like, the start of the tour felt so different to the end of it, because the restrictions were gone and like it was back to normal kind of thing after a year. Like that was like 3 years then of like finally we're back to normal touring.
I remember the back to normal feeling felt really abnormal,
because I wasn't sure if we were going to go to like back to normal, like airports are just like as they were, like because just life changed so much, and like going to the supermarket is backed out.
Oh my gosh, do you remember you had to go, it was a one-way system in the supermarkets? Crazy.
So that was just and to experience that in a touring environment was just it was quite a strange one, but it was cool at the same time that I was on tour as it all kind of went away.
If we talk about a tour just for a minute, maybe if we talk about like America, for example, generally how does that look? Like how does your week look whilst you're touring?
So like an average, like say like an arena tour, you'll have maybe 4 shows in a week, 4 or 5 shows in a week. Depends how much the artist, wants to do in a week normally. You'll have your normal day, which doing my role started about kind of midday. Obviously the whole production has been in for hours since I've been there. You do your load in, you start setting everything up, you kind of work towards a 3-4 p.m. kind of sound check time, and then an hour or so sound check. The supports come and do their thing, and you have a bit of downtime.
Obviously the supports bring all of their own team, like Zara did with the Ed tour. So that's kind of like their time on the stage. But you can have days where things are delayed, like obviously in an arena environment, like everything's built that day, it's flown in the air that day. So like things can be delayed, which delays all the other teams, like stages won't fit and things like that. So all these things that change your, timings change constantly. An arena show usually starts about, 8:30 at night. And then the show lasts
hour and a half, and then, you know, gets to about 10 p.m. and then take it all down again, put it back on the truck. You know, that takes another hour or so, a couple hours, and then it gets to like midnight, and then you either go back to your hotel or you go back to the tour bus and try and wind down, come down from that kind of adrenaline rush of the show, and then do it all over the next day.
Yeah.
Or have a day off, or have a travel day. Yeah. So,
on a day off, what do you tend to do?
it can't. So when things are labelled as like a day off in the diary, obviously there's a little bit maybe of travelling in the morning because you've had to like do a 10-hour drive, or like, you know, a long drive. So you kind of, a day off usually, like you arrive at the hotel, because you get hotels on days off usually, drop your bag, and then, you know, wander around the city, find a coffee. I tend to, you know, like drop my bags and then I'm like, right, I'll go to the gym, like have a workout, try and kill some time before you can check in, because you're very much looking forward to a hotel room after maybe being on a tour bus for a few days.
I bet.
Then like explore it depends if you've been to the city before or you know it quite well. Like either way, like explore it, kind of make the most of touring. Like,
because that's one of the perks, really, isn't it? Seeing all
I
these
still
places.
love travel, and like I still get excited to go back to certain cities, and just very much treat it as a day off. Like have some nice foods, like have some nice coffee, have some nice drinks. Maybe you end up maybe clicking and becoming friendly with like certain people on the tour, so you maybe hang out with them. Yeah. And just explore the city that you're in that day, have some fun, like do some activities like bowling, cinema, or whatever, you know, like basically just try and make it as much like your home life as possible. Like do things you enjoy, like go for a run, work out. So
that makes sense.
Yeah.
And do you tend to get like back-to-back days off, like a regular person's working week?
It varies. Like sometimes you'll have, like, I remember once I had like 4 days off in Barcelona, so I was just like,
nice.
Right, okay, I don't mind this. Like so just like went to the beach every day, just so like every week's different. There's no sometimes you don't get a day off for ages, or they all come at once, so it varies.
And when you get booked for a tour, do you get kind of the schedule sort of up front, like you kind of know what cities you're going to, how many days off you're going to have, and all of that sort of thing?
It's kind of pre-planned. Like looking at my year ahead now, like I kind of know roughly where an off day is going to be and things like that.
That's quite nice.
It's all subject to change, and you know, they love to throw a bit of promotion in, or a radio show or whatever, like when it was supposed to be a day off, but it kind of comes with it because, you know, you're getting paid for your time, so you might not get that day off or whatever, but you know you were getting paid anyway, so it's like you should be willing to work, in my opinion. Right. But obviously keeping your crew happy and your team happy is very important to production too. So days off are appreciated by everyone, I think.
I mean, I think they're a necessity to just have a team that works like to the best of their ability.
Especially when we're all signing up to be away from home for months at a time. You can't expect a whole team to work, you know, every day.
That's
for
way
60
too
days
much.
straight.
Exactly.
I'm sure some tours work like that, but I've been fortunate to not be on any tours like that. So,
amazing. And then the Dua tour came to an end.
So that was, by this point, was like, you know, Christmas of 2022. By this time, like her album had been out for 3 years. So I knew that she was going to take a break for a bit, and work with her was going to kind of come to an end. So then I was very much like, right, it's been like 4 years and I've been kind of doing a role that I didn't really want to be doing, you know, in the earlier stages of my career. So I was just like, this is probably the right opportunity to, like, I didn't have to say like I'm quitting or no just yet. I spoke to my friends that I met in the industry and people that knew me as a good front of house engineer. So I was just like, if you know of anything, let me know. And then, like 2023 just kind of happened the way I wanted it to. I did a few roles where I was the monitor engineer, which is looking after the artist sound or the band sound, just as like stepping stones to get known as an audio guy again. So 2023 I ended up doing some bits with an artist called Jack Garrett, another artist called Christine and the Queens, and that was kind of the start of that 2023 year. And then the opportunity to mix an artist called Lauren Spencer Smith came in, who's a Canadian artist that just took up most of 2023 basically, and that was a world tour. And when that happened, I was just like, great, I've managed to like do what I set out to do, and ended up doing, you know, months and months with Lauren, which was great. And it was great for me as well, because it was like the size of rooms that I wanted to be doing to start off with, because I was just like, I've gone from arenas, I know I'm not going to be doing arenas straight away again, so it was kind of like club academy shows, which was a great way to transition into doing that role full time. So yeah.
How many people are in the audiences for those kind of tours?
Like a couple thousand, like average every night.
I love how you say that so like casually, just a few thousand.
Yeah, well, you know, I've gone from stadium gigs to arenas to back to that, so it was just like yeah, I say that they're the smaller shows now, but they're still massive shows, obviously. Yeah. And then 2024 still had some stuff with Lauren happening, but I was very much looking for a new gig. And then the production manager that was working on Lauren with me also started working with Olivia Dean, who I'm currently working with. So that just ended up, being all of my 2024 basically was with Olivia Dean and Lauren, kind of mixing the two together and kind of balancing that as well. Like it got quite hard at one point because the two artists were kind of like clashing with dates and things, but managed to work it out. And spent like the whole year with Olivia Dean doing a headline thing, doing festivals, and like she was so busy. And then like into this year, where we like right at the top of the year, we went to Australia, did a festival and headlines in Australia and New Zealand, and then did a trip to Thailand on the way back from that. And then so like 2025 has already kind of gone how I wanted it to. So it was a really scary thing. Like obviously I had to quit Dua at one point, and I remember that phone call happening while I was on tour with Lauren, going, oh, like obviously I'm like turning down a lot of work and obviously quite a different level of work, and like like retainer and things like that, which I got used to on Dua. So it was a scary thing to say no to, but I knew it was the right thing. And the Dua's tour director, Pete, was like great as well. He was just, he knew my answer before I kind of had to give it to him. And he was really supportive in terms of like wanting me to transition to the role that I was doing anyway. So but it was obviously a tough gig to say no to, because it's a massive gig now. So I mean, but I guess you've still got the connections there. So if absolutely,
the role
and like all the
comes available,
I still love all the team, and hopefully they all still love me. And it's like, they all knew it was the right thing for me to do. If it was it's definitely made me like, obviously I'm happier doing what I wanted to be doing, what I set out to be doing, but I'm missed at the same time. And
of course.
And like it's a hard thing when you've been part of a team for so long, and then you've decided to step away from it as well. So it was scary in all sorts of ways, but it's all worked out luckily. So
exactly. You've been so headstrong about like the specific role that you want to do. What is it about the live audio that you love so much?
Doing that role, your environment changes every day. Every gig is different. Some days you have a great day, some days you have a bad day. That happens in other roles, obviously, but because I'd set out to always kind of be the guy out front mixing the act, it was just something that was in me that I wanted to do. And like you're kind of like the other member of the band in a way, like in terms of like without you, like nothing's coming up front, and your
no one can hear you.
your style and your way of mixing it is like how the audience hear it and how it's heard on everyone's phones, on the internet and things like that. So like, it's like you're way more creative doing that role. And it's just something that I've always wanted to do when I was younger. And that was always the end goal. And to have finally got there is great. So
So how did you learn about the live audio part of it? Like through each of the roles that you've done to build up to that point, have you had moments of like shadowing other people to learn?
Yeah, like it's obviously like that's how I started my career. And I've always mixed music, and I still, I even do like studio bits now and then, like, still. So I had that, like, it's once you like learn to mix something or work with music, like none of that knowledge escapes you. But yeah, I've had lots of people over the years that have given me good advice, and I've learned from, and you just see how people do things, and you maybe emulate or copy how they do things. And I've always looked for people that I look up to and things like that, and taken influence off them for sure.
Yeah. How much like input do you get from the rest of the band and the artists themselves on what you're doing?
Quite a lot, and management as well, and label, and like everyone's obviously, even most of the the audience, they all have an opinion, and I'm sure you've been to a gig where you can't hear the vocal, and some people let that be known that they can't hear it or whatever, or they say that sounded great, or they'll say the opposite maybe. But yeah, there's a lot of pressure in the job in terms of like lots of people have got their kind of opinion, and their ears are very open to hearing it, and they'll give your opinion and tell you if something's wrong, or they'll tell you if they love it. Like, yeah, so it's that's probably one of the hardest parts of the job is
the feedback.
Like constructive and negative as well, and positive feedback. But yeah, it's you're obviously you're the end kind of point for like all of the source on stage. Like the band can't be heard without you being there. So it's just like,
So do you
approach a
approach
lot of power behind my fingers kind of thing?
Yeah, definitely. Do you approach each show generally like in the same way, or do you look for the feedback after each show and then adjust for the next one?
It kind of gets to a point, like definitely early on in a tour, like first few shows of the tour, like you get little notes here and there, or look, can we change this? Like, but then once it's like well oiled kind of thing, like you're a good 10 shows in or whatever, like everyone, you're just trusted then to keep it going until the end of the tour. And that's happened several times for me, where it's just like, and that's everyone's got their own, especially if they're in charge of the creative vision as well, like they're entitled to their opinion as well. You just have to take that on board and work with it, and you'll have disagreements, you'll want to do your own thing, but maybe you can't, but yeah, it's just part of the job.
Just jumping in quickly to thank the sponsor of this season, Capture One, the tool trusted by professionals around the world, and the one I've relied on since day one. Whether I'm producing a shoot, working on edits, or reviewing on set, it's always Capture One that I'm opening first. If you want to give it a go, and you should, you can get 30% off for the first year of the all-in-one subscription with code Morgan30. It's valid until the 1st of June 2026. Full details and the link are in the show notes. Now, back to the episode. As someone who has only ever been like an attendee at these, I've never been involved in any of the music. How does your role actually work? Is it like every instrument and the singer, obviously, and the backing singers have their own mic, and you're kind of controlling the level you can kind of hear that, and how the audience hears that? Is that in like very basic terms?
Yeah, so everything is isolated and has its own channel, and comes to me as a channel. And then I think the best analogy for it is just think of it like kind of making like a recipe or a cake or whatever. So like all these individual ingredients come to me, I mix them together, and that requires me to do like very detailed things to little individual bits, or not have to do very much, but it's all about like creating a balance, making sure everything, obviously in live music, if you're looking at something on stage, it has to be heard, but then there's other sources like backing tracks, things that can't be seen but can be heard. So it's all about mixing all those things together, making sure everything's balanced, again, make it sound maybe like the record, or you've had some notes of how to make it sound, you do that, everything comes separately, becomes one thing, and that one thing is then pushed out of the big speakers in the room, and then it's my job to then make that sound system in the room sound how I want it to.
Yeah.
Make sure everything's heard throughout the venue, not just in what there can't just be like one sweet spot in the venue. It kind of has to be
of course
heard kind of equally across the whole room, because you don't want the people at the back or in the seats at the top having a worse time than the people on the front row. So
how do you do that? Are you literally running around like listening in all the areas?
I'll spend about a half an hour, 45 minutes every day walking around listening. I have a reference song that I've heard over and over and over that I put on, usually John Mayer, because most of his stuff sounds really good. So I'll just spend a good amount of time walking around the venue going, and then I'll be with you either tour your own speaker system, so you have what's called a system engineer with you, whose job is to just look after the sound system. Or if you're in a venue which has a system, there'll be an in-house tech who you then consult with and like discuss how we can adapt and change. So certain speakers pointing certain ways can be turned up or down, things like that. So you might want to change to your own personal taste, like certain things. And I use equalization to kind of just to change how bright or darker something is, things like that in simple terms. So that's like most of my start of my day at work is just making the system sound how I want it to. And because your mix becomes, I'm touring the same equipment with me, so I can kind of save every night and build up and have a really dialed show.
Oh, cool.
But the aspect that changes every day is obviously the acoustic space that I'm in and the speaker system.
Yeah.
So it's then adapting my mix to be heard how I want it to in that specific room or venue or festival.
Are there specific venues that are really difficult to do your job in?
A stadium show is an acoustical nightmare, basically. Because you've got so much reflections, metal kind of surfaces, things like that. You have certain rooms that sound really tight and nice. I personally like a room to be tighter, and I can make it more reverberant, and make it maybe how if you're going to somewhere that sounds like a cave, that's obviously going to be much harder to make something sound clear and how you want it to, compared to the opposite. So big gigs might look like it's going to be easier to do it because you've got more stuff or whatever, but sometimes the smaller the show is, the easier it is maybe to get it sounding how you wanted it to. So
do you find like the rest of the team that you work with fully understand your specific roles?
So we did a great thing on the Olivia tour last year where the tour director was like, we're going to do like a little kind of walk and talk session with each crew member, which was great. So we had the band, the artists, some of the management kind of all go around each station, and like we basically explained what we did and what went into that. And it was really interesting to see how like, oh, they didn't realize that's how it's done, or like, I didn't know you had to do that every day. Like, so that was really interesting.
I've done that in previous roles, and it's really interesting to see what someone that you work so closely with actually does, because you probably don't even know, which is why I've made the podcast. But I find that so intriguing.
No, so that was a great thing to do, and obviously there's so much technical detail.
You can't go in too much detail,
but just trying to explain it in the simple way as possible. And
so as the live audio engineer, who are the main people in the rest of the crew that you work with?
So on the size of a production that I'm currently working on, so I'm the front of house audio engineer. So that means I look after the audience sound. You'll have a monitor engineer whose job is to look after the artist and the band sound on stage. So we share, obviously, those roles are very collaborative role. We obviously share all the same things that are coming to us, but we can control and do things separately.
So does that other role, what was it again?
Monitor engineer.
Is that how the band and the artists hear each other?
Yes.
Cool. Okay. There's so many things that go into it that
on the scale of tour that I'm
expected.
doing, like there will be 2 engineers. On some smaller stuff, you'll just be one person. And I've done plenty of gigs like that. So then on most pop shows, you'll have a playback engineer.
Yeah.
That's what I did. Then you'll have backline technician, which is, another role that I've done, which is looking after the drums, guitars, keyboards, things like that, things on stage. Then you'll have like a stage manager. So there's someone whose role it is to make sure the show runs kind of on time and everything's how it's supposed to be, all the set. And then out front with me, there'll be a lighting person, maybe a video person, so people controlling all that. And then kind of, again, on the size of production that I'm doing, you'll have a tour manager, a production manager. So the tour manager looks after everything to do in terms of, the whole tour as an entire thing, travel, hotels, A to B's, pit personnel, HR stuff. And then the production manager is someone who looks after everything to do that comes under the production. So the logistics, like how everything moves around, the hires, the equipment, the day-to-day of how do we get our show into this venue every day. And then, that's kind of like, that's your traditional club size tour.
Okay.
Maybe. And then once you go into arenas, there's
many
so
more.
many, the lighting department might have 20 people in it. And then same with the audio team, several people in that as well. People that's job it is just to look after all the radio equipment that is used. Someone's job who it is just to fly the speakers up every day.
The speakers up?
Riggers, yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so when you go to an arena show, it's just, there's nothing there.
Yeah.
So every morning about 4 a.m, someone comes in with a chalk and marks on the floor where I'm going to put a motor that will hoist everything up into the air. And that's it starts with nothing. It's a blank slate, and then you build your show. So everything tends to be flown up in the air.
I didn't think it would be flown. That's
so when
cool.
you go to your next arena show, when you look at those speakers, they weren't there a few hours ago.
Yeah.
It has very much, arena shows have like become like a completely tailored personal, like this is what I want on my, especially audio wise, like you can say how you want the speakers that night and they'll be flown up in that way. Cool. And it's very specific. But yeah.
Have you ever had an experience where just nothing is going right and it doesn't sound how you want it to?
Yeah, plenty of those, but you kind of, it takes one good gig after that to like completely forget about the bad gig. But the bad gigs can feel really like horrible sometimes, and you can't sleep that night. You're kicking yourself. But I've tried to like, because you'd never remember all the good gigs. You just only remember the bad ones. And it's just like, but things go wrong. I've had power be cut like mid-show, fire alarms going off like during the changeover and things like that, where you just can't turn them off. Or we had one with Lauren where the fire alarm just didn't go off for like over an hour, and then that meant like our show is like, we can't start our show. Everyone's outside of the venue. We had to like, they're on the phone to the promoter going, can we cancel the show? Like, can we refund everyone? Like all these major. So I've had a couple times actually. A few fire alarms are the bane of my life. Yeah. So like, things go wrong. It's live. Things go wrong all the time. I've had, I remember on Dua, we've had microphones go flying out of her hand and stuff like that. But she's such a professional. She carries on.
What do you do in that situation? Do you just instantly turn the mic down? If
someone loses a mic, you have a spare. Obviously, we have backups and spares.
I can imagine it would make such a noise when it bangs on the floor and everything.
And you definitely know that it's hit the floor.
Yeah.
But we have so many redundancies and backup systems in place that if something goes wrong, the audience usually don't know about it.
Okay.
And even the artist sometimes won't know, unless it's their vocal mic.
Yeah, of course.
But like when I was doing my role on Dua, like the whole role is just built on like, here's a backup for that, here's a backup for that, here's a backup for that. So
and you probably have a backup for the backup.
Just so it never goes wrong, basically, So, yeah.
And where are you positioned as well? You're like in the middle of the audience, right?
Yeah, so a front of house engineer will be like, right in the middle of the audience, which is usually my hardest part of the day is literally just getting to that position. Right. Once all the people are in, and especially at festivals. I remember doing
Oh gosh, yeah.
pyramid stage at Glastonbury. It's just like I have to, like, we'd done our show, and obviously I've then got to get all my stuff out of the front of house tent back to the truck, and it's just like it's literally like crew members just like lifting everything up above the heads and things like that.
I'm trying to think, because I've been to Glastonbury and I don't remember people.
So yeah, it depends what time you're on, like how small your equipment is. Otherwise, that stays in the tent there until the last show is finished. So yeah, you don't get to get that equipment back for a while.
Yeah.
But yeah, or a forklift is just driving through the audience for a bit, or stuff like that. Yeah, it's just all this stuff that people don't have any idea is happening.
No, I feel like the audience...
people aren't aware that every artist has got their own equipment.
No, exactly, because that's kind of what I was thinking as well. If you've got all of your own equipment to take to that front of house tent, like if we think of Glastonbury, for instance, how many people are playing on the pyramid stage a day?
It's like 6 or 7, yeah.
Yeah, so that's 6 or 7 lots of equipment. Or it's not a very big like area for front of house either.
Yeah, I remember when we did Glastonbury with Olivia last year, like we were on early, so I was right at the back of that tent.
Right.
And I had like other artists' equipment like right up to the back of mine, and like I remember during our show there was like a K-pop artist, I think they were 17 or something like that, that's what they're called, like on after us, and like they were having technical problems, and obviously like they're Korean, so like they need translators as well, so there's like double the amount of people that would normally be there all in the back of this console, like, and
you're trying to do your job.
I'm just like, guys, can I have just like a minute where I can hear the show, please? Like, because their radios are going off, like, but yeah, that was a stressful show in terms of just because I was right at the back of that tent, probably doing the biggest show that I've done in my career, and the only way for me to actually hear the show was to like run out of the tent.
Oh, what?
So like most of the time, that hour-long show or whatever it was, I probably only heard it like a handful of times because I couldn't obviously leave my station for too long. I was off a run. So like, it was obviously I can hear it, but I can't hear it.
No,
like,
you can't hear the detail that you need it.
Yeah. So like that was just, and the stress of that back and forth. But
that is
stressful. That gig, that was the Friday at Glastonbury, and Dua was headlining that night. So I had kind of most of the Dua team watching the show, and I knew they were, and it was kind of my like, here's my chance to like prove that I've made the right choice.
Well, you never know what's going to come out of that then.
Yeah. So it was just like a nice, it was also a nice like full circle moment where I was just like, all the team are there listening to it, going like, wow, this is amazing. Like, well done. Kind of thing. So that was super
cool.
nice.
Yeah, definitely.
And then obviously I got to watch her then.
Yeah, which is lovely
which
as well.
I'd never experienced before, because I'd always been not out front when I was working for Dua. I was like on stage. Yeah. Never got to see the show.
Yeah.
So then me standing at the front of Glastonbury stage watching Dua was like a mad moment. I was just like, wow, she's like, because she was huge at the point I started working for her anyway, but she hadn't started doing arenas and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Until I started working for her. So yeah, just seeing her do that headline slot was amazing. So yeah.
Yeah, I bet. Is it important as well when you're working on the show to have a really good visual of the whole stage?
Yes and no. Like obviously some venues you'll get a great line of sight, others you won't. But it definitely helps. Like if you know your singer is in front of the speakers, which as a audio engineer is not what you want. Ideally, you don't want the speaker, anywhere near the microphones, otherwise it'll make a noise and feedback.
It's a horrible noise.
Yeah. But yeah, so like a line, like just like every day is different, and you get some days where it's the most ideal situation on others, but you just But like Glastonbury, couldn't even see the stage, pretty much.
Just too many people.
Just I'm so far back in the tent.
Yeah, I'm trying to think where it even is. Because it's
So unless you're right at the front of that tent, you're not seeing much of the stage. And the way that the pyramid stage is anyway, is like, it's quite a hard stage to look like,
Yeah.
But then that makes you focus on listening. If you can't see something, your only way of, your whole role is based on hearing and listening. So it kind of makes you focus when you can't see as well. So
for sure.
It's kind of got its positives and negatives.
Yeah. So many things that go into it. That is just I'm so oblivious to all of it. Okay, so you've also set up your own company.
Yeah.
And like you do a little bit with like TV broadcasting.
Yeah,
there,
so
don't
like obviously COVID happened, and I'd done years before that I'd done little bits of TV, but COVID kind of happened, and the opportunity to like obviously I had the availability to do it. So this is all in Welsh language TV. So it was the music-based stuff on S4C. So yeah, my company would help produce and do anything audio-wise that was to do with a few music shows that they broadcast. So yeah, set up the company 2021, I think, is when I set that up. So yeah, like my company is set up as half touring, half broadcast.
Yeah.
I still now do a few broadcast bits here and there, and basically in charge of mixing the music for the music show, basically, which is obviously similar but very different. We do some live stuff, but most of the time it's a pre-recorded thing. So yeah. But that's me in my studio then mixing. I can listen to something over and over and over and over and get it to sound how I want it to. But yeah, that's been a major part of my career as well, which is doing little bits of broadcast stuff.
What do you think the future for your career is? Are you pretty set on live?
For now, like I've always told myself, like the minute I don't want to shut my door or leave my house is probably the moment I probably shouldn't tour anymore.
Got you.
Because it's a really tough job. Like you're away from friends and family for months at a time sometimes, and I don't have any kids or anything yet, but like when that happens in my life, like that's going to be really hard to do. But as COVID kind of proved, like I can't do much else and earn the same type of money, so I'm kind of but I see myself maybe at later stages in my career kind of going, right, I would maybe like to work for a audio supplier or a company or a manufacturer or something like that, do a totally different role to what I'm doing now, but just have a more of a traditional home life and maybe not be self-employed for I don't know, I've been self-employed like
you've always been self-employed
since I was like 17 or whatever, so I don't know any different. I don't know what it's like to have a boss, like I don't know what it's like to, obviously in touring there's still people above you, but like you're still very much in control of your own career, and we'll see what, like for now it's definitely a role that I see myself doing another few years, definitely. But yeah, I think I have had friends in the industry that have definitely gone, right, this lifestyle isn't for me anymore, because it's very much like a life, like it's not just a career, it's a lifestyle. So it can, as glamorous as it sounds, like flying around the world and all that kind of stuff, once you've done it a few times, it becomes very much my flight to America today is work. Like it's not it's not fun, fair.
So it kind of loses its
and
edge.
I've trust me, I've been to Australia and back for like a couple of days and then had to
that's tough.
That's not that fun. So no,
that's really tough.
So
I've got the new section of the podcast, The Listen Around.
Okay, great.
Which is some of my listeners have written in to ask questions. So you're still, I guess, based in Wales, although you're obviously flying all over the place. Do you think being based outside of a major city has helped or challenged your career?
Both, really. Like I always wondered, like if I'd moved to London, like would I've just had like all these opportunities? But then obviously I'm like a small fish in a big pond kind of thing if I did that. So like me staying in Wales meant that I got to the top of the scene that I was involved with quite fast and like became like the guy in the scene. So if I'd maybe been in a major city, I would have just like maybe never broken into touring. I might have just like stayed working in a venue or whatever, or just so like I've just been very fortunate to get the work that I've done and kind of maybe skipped a few levels of touring as well. Kind of went straight into like good level touring, which meant like people didn't have a problem with me traveling, getting trains, getting hotels. Like it can be like I've said no to a few jobs, or they've said no to me because I'm not based in London, which at the end of the day now, like my simple answer to that is just like, this isn't a gig for me, sorry then. Because then I'm like, well, you're not going to fly me very well, you're not going to get me nice hotels if you have a problem with me having to travel the day before and things like that. So just been fortunate to get the right work, but managed to stay where I am, which is in terms of like the music industry, is a very isolated place in terms of like I haven't got any connections that are like local connections or whatever in terms of big touring stuff. But there's a few of us that, you know, in where I live, like there's a few of us that work in touring like full time. So
great.
I always looked at them and I went, well, they've done it. So and we're all just very like, cool, we've like managed to make this work.
Yeah, amazing.
And help each other all the time as well. So
definitely.
Yeah.
No, it's amazing that you have made it work, because I think so many people feel like they need to move to one of these major
people
cities.
assume I live in London all the time.
But I guess that goes in your favour as well.
Yeah, like I'm here so much that I feel like a Londoner sometimes as well. So like,
What would you say to someone in a similar sort of small town that you grew up in, who feels like it's a bit of a challenge to actually break into music? What's your advice for them?
I think confidence is everything. Confidence and networking, and having the confidence to network in the right way. And obviously don't come across like you're like too confident at the same time as well. So for me, how I did it was just, I found the people that I needed to maybe make connections with and just like, you know, befriended them and just got to know them first and foremost.
Yeah.
And just made sure that people's impression of me was always like positive and like, oh, he's a nice guy, or he's really good at what he does. A lot of his luck though, like I could tell someone like, this is how you become a touring sound engineer. Like there's a lot of people that obviously, I get this question all the time, like, oh, like how have you done this? And I'm like, I tell you straight, like I don't really know. Like I've just been like very fortunate, and the opportunities I've had like made the most of, hence why I maybe did some roles that weren't maybe what I set out to be doing, but they were roles that got me into a certain place in the industry to meet the right people. So yeah, it's an industry that's not corporate in any way. So it's like you can't go on LinkedIn and like apply to be Olivia Dean's front of house engineer.
No,
like it just doesn't work like that. So like how I got the Olivia gig was like connections that I'd made on Zara and stuff as well. Like never forget about a connection as well. Like
it's interesting because we obviously met at a networking event as well.
Yeah.
Do you like seek out those sorts of events and make them a priority to go to? Yeah,
I mean, and like that event specifically wasn't like anything to do with touring or like music or anything. It was just like, oh, a load of creative people that I'll probably get on with. Like, and I'm very much that person. Like I like mixing with people who are creatives or like passionate about what they do. And it's just important to get yourself out there and meet all different types of people who do all different types of things in creative industries.
Yeah, definitely. And lastly, how do you decide what projects you take on now?
Several things. Like for me, like first and foremost, like it's definitely a bonus if you like the music that you're about to be asked to hear over and over again. So that's important. You ask your questions about like how are we going to be treated? Obviously, like the pay and things first and foremost, but like what's the deal in terms of like how we've been flown? Like how are the hotels? Like what's the? Do
you get flown first class?
I've had a few business flights, but maybe not. I mean, I've been on a few private jets, but
oh, very nice. Okay,
if that's better than first class, maybe. Just the treatment in general, and just from the get go, I can really tell like how someone's going to run the production that they're running. And don't get me wrong, like I've been on a few gigs where I've just been like, okay, no more for me, or vice versa. Like they've just not continued. It's such a cutthroat industry that it can work both ways. Where you're just like, oh, this isn't for me anymore. Sorry, bye. And that is a scary thing about the job as well. Like someone could just be like, we don't want you anymore, like instantly. And you're just like not protected in any way, but that's freelance work, I guess.
I was going to say it's the same, I guess, any type of freelance work, isn't it? And that's the risk that you take being self-employed.
But you know, I'm 10 years plus or whatever, like doing this now, and I've just got used to it. So like I managed to get work every year so far. So yeah. And like knowing that as well is really important at the start of your career as well. Like don't expect anyone to be loyal to you as well. Like they can always maybe just decide to get rid of you whenever they want. Yeah.
Very true. Very true. Very true. But I think what you said about being yourself and just a nice person and all of that will just go a long way in those instances.
I think if I was to give like people advice in terms of like how to be a successful touring person is just like, first of all, it's just like being a good hang, basically, and like just be like a lovely person to like spend part of your life with, because like people I've been working with, like on my current thing, like we're going to spend like the next few years together, probably, like, you know, we're going to get to know each other. We've all been put into this situation without, like, you know, we weren't friends beforehand, or like, or we might have been, but like you just become kind of good pals as well as colleagues. So because you're just spending weeks on end with each other.
I mean, I'm sure they're the best gigs then, because you actually like everyone that you're working with, and it makes it a lot more fun.
That's again like a factor that keeps me on a gig, is like, do I actually get on with these people? And like, do I actually want to tour with these people? Like, you might love the music, but there might be, you know, not very nice people to live with or to work with. So it's it's a good mix of both.
Thank you. It's been very enlightening about music. Literally, I didn't know half of that stuff about live tours. So thank you for coming on.
Diolch yn fawr.